Here we cut a piece of wood the size and shape we need it. In this case, it's a red American cedar, and we cut it. This size is 8" by 16". Now we're going to sand and round the corners off, get it all nice and smooth, and prep it for the pattern. This is a transfer pattern, a pencil pattern on the one side, and some Conti crayon on the back side to transfer the letters to the right onto the wood. And here I'm just using a ballpoint pen to transfer the letters right onto the surface of the wood. And then I'm going to go ahead and scribe a 1/2" border around the outside. I'm going to go ahead and use a router to cut out the numbers and the border, starting with the border and a guide, plunge cut right into the wood, and that's a shelving mat, a non-stick shelving mat that the wood's on. It keeps things gripped on there. This is a small piece, so the smaller the piece, a little more difficult it is to stay in one spot. But once you start working on the center, the weight of the router keeps it in place. Now you just go around the numbers, and I usually leave about an 1/8" to a 16" from the line, and then come back and finish it off with a Dremel tool. But in this case, the idea is just to remove as large a quantity of wood as you can, as quickly as you can. So that's why I'm just going to go around it now with this 1/4" bit. But you still need to be real careful and go real slow. This is at 8x speed, so it looks like I'm going in super speed, but I'm actually not. I'm going pretty deliberate and slow because you don't want to mess this up, especially if it's just going to be stained. These numbers are going to be painted and gilded, but if you were to stain this, or for instance the border is going to be left stained, you want to be real careful not to remove wood that you don't want to remove. And I also have a spare piece or pieces of material to work with in case I make a mistake or some accident happens. You can always have a backup piece, which is a good idea. After removing the wood up close to the lines, the next thing I'll do is go ahead and install a larger bit to remove the rest of the background, as otherwise it would take quite a long time to go back and forth removing the rest of the background material with just a 1/4" bit. And if you don't have a router, you could rent one and get a few bits. Or if you think this is something you'd like to do, you can always buy one. Using a Dremel is great for smaller projects, but for this size and up, it really wouldn't be practical. The only time I would use Dremel is for doing small, intricate design work or carving, or trying to get right up to a line or getting real small details. And so this 3/4" bit really takes a lot of material away fairly quickly. Again, you still have to be very careful though. And it's nice when you have a nice big platform. Now here's where platform meaning the table of the router is nice and big, so it glides over the border and the numbers. Now I'm coming back in and finishing up with the Dremel, an 1/8" bit, and going right up to the line. This is where I just be real careful, take it slow, and again I'm at 8x speed, so this is not as fast as I'm going. I'm just going super slow, and this is where I want to just take my time. And I actually, the bit actually gets caught on some grain at the bottom of this 3, and you'll see that happen. And fortunately, I was able to go ahead and repair that simply by evening out. There's what happened right there. So it took a couple of little bites out of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and smooth that out with the Dremel and just be real careful. Push back and forth, just lightly push up against. Don't get heavy-handed when it comes to going up against the the wood. And so now you just keep moving along until you go right up to the line and clean everything up until you've cut everything right to the line. And just going slow and steady wins this race, that's for sure. Being real careful. Also a good time to tidy up the corners of the border, because an 1/8 inch bit leaves an 1/8 inch radius. I'm sorry, a 1/4 inch bit leaves a 1/4 inch radius, and this is just a little 1/8 inch bit. It's much smaller. And it's a good time to just clean up little nicks. Now it's time to sand. Hand sand the edges and the corners, round everything off. That will be a lot. It will last much longer if you round off all the letters and edges. I mean letters, the numbers. I'm probably going to say letters a lot, but the numbers and also the border, all the edges, sand them real good. This is it. This is where you want to really, make your finished product where you want it to be. And this is a little hobby chisel, little hobby wood chisel. And I've had this thing for decades, and it's worked great. It's great for these small little projects like this, and it just scoops the material out real well when you want little tiny scoops like this. And I also use a angle cutter as well to cut around against the letters, against the edge of the letters, to remove those little scallops, because you can't do that with the scoop. And you just go along and just make random scoop outs, like following the grain. And cedar's pretty forgiving, but it'll have little splits here and there that you just need to touch up. So this is just your labor of love right here. This is where you're just kind of having fun. This is where you're working, and this takes some time, but it's very hand done. I also have a air compressor and a air nozzle that I blow all the material out so I can see what I'm doing as I'm going, which is great if you can do that. And now it's time to sand and touch up any places that need a little touch up. Sometimes you'll find a split where you didn't see it before. I spin it around, I look it up in different angles to make sure that everything is, there's no odd looking outstanding scoops or chisels or things like that. And this is your final sanding, so this is where you really want to spend a lot of time making it look good. This particular one you're going to see up close, so I want to really do a good job and really clean it up well. If it's seen far away, you can be a judge on how much detail you put into it. And I put a pre-stain sealer on, and this will, number one, seal the wood, and number two, prep for stain, and it will allow the stain to go on very evenly. And I just do this, even though cedar is a very hardy material, very hardy wood exteriorly, I still like to seal it real well, make this thing last long. It's a combo stain poly, so this particular one is a satin. It goes on gloss, but when it dries it'll be a satin finish. They do have gloss. I just particularly like this look for what I'm doing. To make it, and I won't rub it out. So this is gonna take a while to dry, like about 3 or 4 days. If I rubbed it out, it would dry much faster. But this is the look I want, and so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on thick like this. You can rub yours out so it's more thin, so you can see more of the wood, and that would be great too. This is just the look I wanted for this particular sign. Let that dry really well. Stick it in the sun if you want, and just take some real 320 sandpaper and prep for painting, because these numbers will be gilded. Clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol, and then I'm going to go ahead and use imitation gold lettering one shot with my quill brush, and I'm going to apply that onto the numbers, and I'm going to use it straight out of the can, no thinning. It's nice to be able to work horizontally like this, because you can really flood the surface with paint. And I've already got the poly seal, so I don't need a primer. And this is where you want to really be careful. This is kind of your first measure of how the shape of your letter. So the edges you want to make look real nice and clean. And also I will be using a quick size. First I'm going to put some kaolin powder on. This will protect the background of the sign from the gold just sticking on there. And so now I'm going to use some quick size, And this takes about 45 minutes to an hour before you can start gilding. And this is really where you want to be accurate with your edge. I will not be putting a outline on this, so the gold edge is going to be the final product. So I want to really be careful how I letter. And what you want to do is spin this thing around, get light on it, make sure you haven't skipped anywhere, because skipping creates a time issue where you got to go back and apply more size, wait for that to set, and prep for gilding. So you really want to look carefully. And here's a spot on the floor where you can see it's matte right there, and I'll be pointing to it, right, that little streak right there, and I have the light on it, so I'm going to go ahead and go right over that. I actually did that on purpose for the video so you can see the difference. Now I'm going to take the size and go ahead and fill that in. But I did miss a spot on the 5. You'll see that in a minute. Then I have to go back and resize it. So then you let this set, and to set it, you do the back of the knuckle for testing whether it's ready. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour for this to be ready, depending on your temperature. That's what you want to hear, that squeaking sound, and you're ready to apply the gold. So this is a patent leaf, and so you just keep pressing it, and it's actually adhered to the backing, so it's easy to apply. It's not loose leaf. And then you just keep applying, pressing down until you get it all on, get it all covered. And I'm going to have a vacuum cleaner and a brush where I'm going to remove the excess gold. And I like to use that because this stuff flies around all over the shop. So I use the gold brush, gilding brush, and I just use the shop vac and just suck it right in. And it's a nice way to be able to never touch the surface. Don't touch the gold because you don't want to wreck your gold gild job. And so here's where I'm touching up where I missed the holidays. And then now I'm going to show you where I missed right on that 5. So now I got to come back with a touch-up. And a touch-up brush and put some more size. Wait for that to dry, about 45 minutes, and then touch that up and vacuum again. And now I'm going to show you the type of texture called engine turn, and it's using some velvet or velveteen, felt, whatever you have. And in this case, I have it on a bolt, and you just take it and you spin. It's not super hard and it's not super light. It's kind of like a medium. And this is the velvet that I have that came from that. I put a piece of cotton on a bolt, and then you wrap it around and wrap it around with some copper wire, and then you can take that and put it inside of a cordless screw gun or drill. And then if you have a lot of it to do, you can sit there and all day long, and let's say you had a long stripe around a car or something like that. But in this case, it's such a small project. I want to just do this by hand, so I can just, you know, touch down. I'm working horizontally with the project, so it's pretty easy to just make this pattern. Basically, it's just spinning. I'm just spinning it clockwise and making this circular pattern, which gives a little more interest. It's like you've seen this on fire engines and so on, and it just makes an interesting pattern than just a regular matte look. And so this is the kind of project to have fun with, and so it's kind of fun just to make this spinning texture pattern. And you just go around, just keep spinning. You know, just kind of don't keep going over one spot. Just, you know, go up against the last circle you made, and overlap just slightly. This also cleans it up a little bit too, if there's any kind of like little you know, just kind of rough wrinkles or things like that. Just kind of smooths that out a little bit too. And if you were using slow size, you could do, you know, if you wait for the next day or so to do this. But if you wait too long with quick size, the size dries, sets, and it's over. So you can just do this the same time that you've gilded. Just got to be careful not to press too hard, or you can tear the gold. And so that's how the effect looks. It's just kind of a nice, fun, special kind of look. than versus just the matte. You can see the two together, what the difference looks like. There's just a slight texture to it, something unique about it. And then you just keep going. You just keep spinning, spinning, spinning until you get all your numbers spun. And then once you're done with that, once it's all done, sign's all done, ready, then you take some isopropyl alcohol and flood it. And this is great stuff because it cleans, doesn't leave a residue, and doesn't harm pretty much anything. But it makes a great way of pulling all the dust and debris off your sign, you know, instead of versus rubbing it where you might scratch your gold leaf job. You can just give this a good dousing and just pretty much drown it. And also it's a neat time to see what it would look like if it had a clear coat of varnish over it, which looks kind of cool if you want that look. But I kind of want it to have an old world look. This is going on an old building. So now it's time to install. And this is on a wrought iron fence, and the gate is to the right. The gate is actually open. That's the entrance of the unit, so it's quite a ways back there. So just drilling 4 holes into this wrought iron fence where it'll receive the screws from the back, and level it up, and go ahead and put exterior screws in to the back. And this is where I'm going to level it and mark it up from the holes I made. Make sure it's nice and level. Even though the fence or gate might not be level, I always make the sign level. Then I'm able to reach around to put these, screw these in, so I can just drop the screws into the holes, place the sign where it needs to go, and then just reach around. Otherwise I'd use clamps, and I would use clamps with rubber pads, so and I wouldn't put it on the gold. Don't put anything on the gold. And then there you go, the finished product. You know, people will be able to see that gold from every direction. Light reflects from it from all directions, you'll see. I hope you have a chance to make one of these fun little address signs. They really are a fun project to do and very rewarding. Thanks so much for watching.